98 FM. Dublin Talks. Call 6797 981.
And good morning from Adrian Kennedy. It is Wednesday. What date is it? The 15th. Although my scripts here say it's Tuesday, the 3rd of December, lads. Where did that come from? Tuesday, the 3rd of December. That's what it says on my sheet here in front of me. Anyhow, it's not Tuesday, the 3rd of December. It is Wednesday, the 15th of April, 2020. You do kind of get lost in the days, but December, lads, honestly. Anyhow, how are you today? I hope everything is good with you. Between now and midday, we have a lot of stuff to get through on the programme. We're going to be talking about joggers a little bit later on. We're going to be talking about domestic abuse and a new advertising campaign that has started today. But first off, I'm looking for your help. And in fact, we want to share the help. Over the last couple of weeks, as we've been confined to our homes and going for our socially distanced walks and within 2 kilometres of our homes and all of that, you can't do that all day, every day, and you eventually have to go home, and eventually it gets dark. Mind you, I was just talking to somebody yesterday. How lucky have we been? You have to look at positives out of all of this. How lucky have we been over the last couple of weeks that ever since this lockdown started, ever since kind of St. Patrick's Day, the weather here has just been unbelievable. It really has. I mean, look at today. Not a cloud in the sky, which is unheard of for this time of the year. So we have to look at the positives, and that is a definite positive. Can you imagine what the last month would have been like if it were lashing rain every day the way it did in February? It would have been unbearable. Anyhow, so thank God for small mercies, as they say. But anyway, I'm looking for your help first off today with suggestions of things that you've been watching on television or on Netflix or Disney Plus or any one of the other streaming services, Amazon Prime, whatever it is, or your Common or Garden telly. I want you to send me a WhatsApp voice note, first off, with recommendations for things to watch either online or through the ordinary television channels that you've watched over the last couple of weeks and have found very enjoyable, very entertaining, and something that you would like to recommend to other listeners. So send me a WhatsApp voice note right now to 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. I want you to send me your recommendations for programs or films or whatever that you think that we should watch over the next couple of weeks. So you simply send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. Now, one of the one show that I have watched, but I've completed the whole thing, and I know loads of you did, was Tiger King on Netflix, which I thoroughly enjoyed. In fact, Jeremy's here with me in a different part of our building.
Hey, Adrian, it's Joe Exotic here.
Don't give the plot line away.
That's not the plot line.
Anyway, yes, Tiger King on Netflix. Watched the whole thing last week, and well worth watching. It's so bizarre.
Yeah, but we're both suffering from... By the way, this is actually a thing. It's called Netflix withdrawal. And this is where you build yourself up. You watch a TV program, and then when it's over, you're like, oh God, what do I do with my life now? So like the whole world last week all watched Joe Exotic and Tiger King, yeah?
Yep.
And then we finished the last episode last Thursday, I think, and we were like, oh, what do we do now?
What now? Yeah, exactly.
What now?
So yes, I've watched the whole thing. You've watched the whole thing. It was really well worth watching if you haven't watched it yet. Tiger King. It's actually a true story. It's a documentary, actually. But the way it was put together by the production company is unbelievable, because they just got every episode. It was like a soap opera. Every episode ended on a kind of a cliffhanger, but it was all real life documentary.
Oh, it's absolutely brilliant. If you haven't watched it, do.
By the way, there's a follow-up episode to be released, I think, this week.
I heard that, yeah.
So, anyhow, so that would be our recommendation if you haven't seen it yet. Tiger King on Netflix. So
I downloaded Disney Plus there 2 weeks ago. Well, my 5-year-old pressurised me to do it. So I ended up downloading Disney Plus, and I'm watching The Mandalorian at the moment, which is a Star Wars miniseries. This wouldn't interest you, Adrian.
No,
that's
not really.
That's what's keeping me amused at the moment. That's going to be... I'm going to watch my last episode of that this Friday. So after that, I've nothing either to keep me busy. And even the soaps are winding down now.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, I think by the end of next week they've run out. I think maybe the week after, but they're down to less. They're showing less episodes, and
by the way, it's really weird if you're watching any of the soaps at the moment. If you're watching Coronation Street or EastEnders or anything like that, yeah, because they make zero reference.
Yeah, but
to
of course
the
they do, because it was all filmed before.
Yeah, it was filmed months ago. But isn't it really weird that
it really is.
I was watching Roy's Cafe yesterday in Coronation Street, and they're all sitting beside each other, and I'm screaming at Roy, "Tell them to social distance, Roy!" But of course, this was made back in January or whatever, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. By the way, the follow-up episode has been released, I've been told.
Oh yeah, I'm just looking at my Netflix account here. It is actually.
It is.
Okay, that's tonight sorted.
That's
Happy
tonight.
days.
Okay, send me a WhatsApp voice note right now to 0877 98 98 98 and let me know what you would recommend for our listeners. I'm going to write a list here of stuff that we should be watching online, okay? Or on television or whatever. 0877 98 98 98 is our WhatsApp number.
So have you nothing to move on to now?
At this moment, no. At this moment, no, I haven't. No.
So what are you going to do with yourself tonight?
Well, why do you think we're doing this piece?
Yeah.
To get ideas. Actually, tonight is going to be the follow-up episode of Tiger King, which I believe has been released, and a couple of people saying it's not actually very good. But anyway. Okay, let's go. Here come some of your WhatsApp voice notes with suggestions of things for us to watch.
Check out Unorthodox. It's a fantastic documentary movie.
Unorthodox. Have you heard of that?
It's a Netflix documentary.
Okay, I've written it down. Keep them coming in. 0877 98 98 98.
Hi Adrian, Sarah here. So I luckily got Disney Plus there, and I have literally been binge watching The Simpsons, and I swear I get so many jokes I couldn't remember or didn't get when I was younger, and I am laughing my bum off at this, and I would highly recommend it. It really takes a good distraction away from everything that's going on at the moment. So anyway, I would highly recommend The Simpsons.
Okay, The Simpsons on Disney Plus, and if you're a Simpsons fan, you can literally overdose on it because...
Oh no, they've literally, I'm just looking at my Disney Plus account here, they've literally every episode that was ever made of The Simpsons. Do you know how many seasons there were?
About 30 or something like that, was there?
Yeah, my God, there's so many. There's literally thousands of episodes, so you could watch them right through lockdown, couldn't you?
You could, yeah. If you're a fan.
And in fact, what Disney Plus have done is they've organised all the episodes into different sort of categories. So it's The Simpsons do sport, so it's all the episodes about sport.
Oh, right.
The Simpsons do rock. The Simpsons do travel. So that's cool, isn't it?
All right, very good. The Simpsons. Let's have a listen to this one.
Adrian, I've started watching Love Hate again from the start, and it's deadly. Appreciate it much more now than I did.
Okay, Love Hate. Did you ever watch that?
I did. I wouldn't go back to watching now because... Remember at the time everybody was quoting, everybody was going around saying, all right, Nidge, and all that.
Yeah.
That's 5 years ago, isn't it?
I know, but where's that available? It must be on the RTE player, isn't it?
It is on the RTE player.
Oh,
yeah.
right, okay, very good. Love Hate, let's have a listen to this one.
Personally, I would suggest to watch The Witcher, which is based on the books. Very good one, by the way. On the other hand, me, my wife and my kids, for the last couple of weeks, we watched all the series from the X-Files. Very old series, probably, you know that. Yeah, I know, but still, it's good fun to see it again.
The X-Files, like it's 20-odd years ago, isn't it?
The X-Files was 1993.
Yeah, so it's fairly old. Okay, yeah. But anyway, yeah, no, if whatever entertains you. I'm trying to decide whether to watch 24 all over again. I was a big fan, as you know, of Jack Bauer and 24, and I have all of the episodes. I have the whole box set, and I haven't watched them in years, and I'm seriously thinking of revisiting them. That'll keep me busy.
You know the ending of all of it now.
Yeah, sure.
Why would you watch it again?
Yeah, why not? Let's have a listen to this one.
I would recommend Call the Midwife on Netflix, especially for older people. We actually got the box set for my mother-in-law, who is cocooned in her house, and she has loved every second of it. It is very uplifting, and it's during wartime. Fantastic.
All right, very good. Thank you very much indeed. Keep them coming in. 087 98 98 98 is our WhatsApp number. We're looking for suggestions of things to watch now that we've run out of stuff to watch.
You know what's trending on Netflix at the moment? I'm just looking at the app here. That movie, Outbreak.
Oh, is it?
You know the movie about the virus?
Yeah.
And basically a virus lands in America, and the government decides to, rather than get rid of the virus, to plant a bomb on top of the village so that it kills the virus. Now, why would you want to be watching a movie like that at this time?
Well, I watched Contagion last week.
Oh, it's freaky.
It's freakily accurate, actually. The virus in this particular movie is a little bit more severe than COVID-19, but it's scarily accurate, isn't it? It was
I remember going to see that in the cinema about 10 years ago when it came out. I remember saying to my missus at the end of the movie, I was like, that's very unrealistic. As if a whole world would shut down because of a bug.
Mm. Yeah, well, there you go.
Where we are.
Yeah. Okay, Mandeep sent me this message.
Hi there. One season that you should really watch is Money Heist. I think there's 5 seasons or 4 seasons. You should really watch it. It's really good.
Okay, Money Heist. Okay, I've written it down. John sent me this.
Hi, Adrian and Jeremy. This is John here. I'm driving because I'm just on my way back home after 12-hour shift. I just finished the series Kingdom over Netflix. It's a Korean zombie apocalypse thing. It's way better than The Walking Dead. There's so much drama and action, so better try and see it. Kingdom over Netflix. Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you very much, John.
Nothing better to take your mind off what's happening in the world by watching a zombie apocalypse movie. You know, you and your wife sit down this evening at 8 o'clock. Let's put on something to take our minds off what's happening in the world at the moment. I know, zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, okay, each to their own and all that. Joe.
Gotham. Watch Gotham. It's flicking great, it is. Gotham with Batman, yeah?
Gotham. Okay, got you, Joe. Gotham. Any idea? I assume that's something to do with Batman, is it?
No idea.
Nikki. Nice and quick.
Nothing to watch at the moment. The next thing you should watch is definitely Ozark.
Oh yeah, Ozark is on Netflix. I definitely watched the first season. I don't know if I kept it up, but I think I might go back to it again.
I was going to watch it, and our Pat, who works with us, told me that it's very violent. Is it?
It's. But you wouldn't be sitting down with the kids to watch it, no.
Okay.
But it's very good. But I think I gave up after the first season. I don't know why I didn't stick with it.
Sell it to me in one sentence. What's it about?
It's a thriller about a family, and it's a little bit weird, but it's very good.
You didn't sell it to me at all, actually.
Cassia.
Hi, my son said he was watching The Last Kid on Earth, and it's a good cartoon for kids about a boy, and he's searching for other kids.
Oh, that's another lovely thing to watch at this particular time. But anyway, The Last Kid on Earth. Thank you, Cassia. What have we got now? Let's listen to this.
Should watch The Circle. Skip the American one, go to the Brazil one, and then the French one. The French one is just brilliant.
Oh. Any idea what that's about? The Circle?
The Circle is a social experiment and competition show where online players flirt and befriend and catfish their way to $100,000. Oh, no. No.
Keep them coming in. 0877 98 98 98. We're asking you for your suggestions of things for the rest of us to be watching on online on the RTE Player. Oh, here's another one that is very, very good. Have you seen Don't with Cats? Have you seen that, Jeremy?
No, and I did, because you beeped out the word, I don't even know what the program is.
It's called Don't with Cats.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I love programs about cats.
Yeah, well, it's not really about cats per se. It's another true story documentary on Netflix, and it's about a killer basically, who, as with all serial killers started off with cats. So that'll give you a little clue.
Oh, and is it a mini-series, is it?
It's a mini-series, yeah.
Oh, I've just found it now. I've put it on. Anybody that recommends things, I'm going to put them on my Netflix list now. So don't...
F with cats, okay?
F with cats.
Aoife!
Another very good show is Don't with Cats.
Oh, sorry, we just said that.
On Netflix.
On Netflix, okay. Yeah, myself and my missus watched it 2 weeks ago, and it's extremely good. Don't F with Cats. Aisling!
Well, lads, we're watching Mindhunters. It's brilliant. And the last episode of Tiger King, not great. Ash here, thanks.
Okay, this is the follow-up episode to the whole series of Tiger King. And, yeah, a load of people actually saying it's not good. Yeah.
Adrian, have you watched The Stranger?
No.
Jeez, where have you been?
Okay, The Stranger, I've written it. God, I have a very long list.
Do you even know about The Stranger?
No.
Oh, it's on Netflix. Literally everybody. You're the only human in the world that hasn't watched this program. So watch The Stranger, and then watch the program that came before called Safe.
Okay.
Both brilliant programs.
Okay, thank you. Aisling.
Well, lads, we're watching Mindhunters.
Oh, sorry, we've just played that. Andy.
Hi, good morning, lads. I suggest for the people to watch a series. It's called The Good Doctor. It's like a young lad, a medical doctor with autism. Oh my God, it's absolutely brilliant to watch from A to Z. Good luck.
Okay, thank you very much indeed, Andy. James.
I'm watching all of the Only Fools and Horses again. You can't beat them, no matter how old you are.
One of my favourite comedies ever, Only Fools and Horses. Where can you get that, though?
Yeah, it's not on Netflix.
No.
Yeah, where would you get that?
I don't know. Jay sent me this.
Morning, Adrian. Jason here. If you're a big fan of 24, you'll definitely like Designated Survivor on Netflix. Great series.
Aha, Jay, I watched all of Designated Survivor. I was very disappointed, actually, that it ended. Netflix did take it up for another season, but they've kind of dropped it. So.
Oh, you know what's on Netflix? I'm just after checking. Every episode of The In-Betweeners.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay, write that down. Right, a few more to get through. Paul.
Morning, guys. There's a movie on Sky Movies called Yesterday. If you like music, this is a great movie to watch.
This is the movie that was about all the Beatles songs.
Yeah, it's a brilliant movie.
Yeah. Haven't seen it yet, but I'll try and get to see it. I'm going to play a couple more after the break, and then we've got a great list now of stuff for you to watch. We'll take a quick break and play a couple more after the break.
The sound of the city from Clondalkin to Clontarf.
Dublin Talks.
98 FM's Dublin Talks.
And we've just confirmed that the first 3 seasons of Only Fools and Horses are actually on Netflix here. So there. If you're an Only Fools and Horses fan, or maybe you want to become a fan all over again, it is all, the first 3 seasons are on Netflix, apparently. Now, a couple more. This is from Linda.
Hi, guys. You really need to watch Queen of the South. It's about how a female rises through the ranks of the drug cartels in Mexico. Absolutely brilliant. Another one is Persons of Interest. Thanks, bye.
Okay, Queen of the South and Persons of Interest. I haven't heard of either, so I'm writing all these down, by the way. I'm going to take these home with me. Jane.
Hi guys, Jane and Colette here, sitting out our back garden after a long walk with the dog, having a cup of coffee. We recommend that you should definitely watch RuPaul's Drag Race. There's 12 seasons on Netflix, and it's definitely a good one for the guys and the girls. It's also very funny.
All right, thank you very much indeed. John, what would you recommend?
Luther.
Pardon me?
John Luther, Idris Elba.
John Luther?
Yeah, it's just called Luther, but Idris Elba, it's one of the best.
Oh, this is on
one
Sky.
One of the best shows to come on the BBC.
Oh, it's on the BBC or Sky?
No, I think they're showing it on Netflix as well. But
I've just been told in my ear that they are showing it on Netflix as well.
Yeah.
Right, Luther. What's it about?
Idris Elba is a cop, but he's like a rogue cop. He does it his own way, a Dirty Harry sort of cop.
Oh.
And he doesn't listen to authority, just does his own thing.
Oh, very
Brilliant.
good. Excellent. Okay, I'll make it my business. I've written it down. Luther, thanks very much indeed, John. Adele.
Morning, guys. Adele here. Great film to watch on Netflix is Message from the King. Really good movie.
Message from the King. Okay, I'm writing all these down. Anne.
Hi, Adrian. Please watch Miracle in Cell Number 7. It's an interesting film, very emotional. You need a box of tissues, but you'll enjoy to watch that. Another series I would recommend is The Yard. It's about ladies in prison. Oh, I'm surprised at what happens in prison. It will be a nice one to watch. It's a long one, 33 episodes, but it's lovely to watch. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.
Thanks very much indeed. Jay?
Hi, lads. Only Fools and Horses is on Netflix. And also another one for you there is Bates Motel. Very good watch. Good luck, lads.
Bates Motel. God, loads to watch now. God, I'll have to actually resign my job now to watch all these. And finally, Declan.
Black Mirror, lads. It's on Netflix. It's the maddest thing you'd ever watch. Every episode is different in every way. It's crazy.
All right, there you go. Thank you very much indeed, Declan. So we got loads there. I've written down some of them. Unorthodox, The X-Files, Money Heist, Kingdom, Gotham, Ozark, Last Kid on Earth for the kids, The Circle, Don't F with Cats, Mindhunters, The Stranger, Queen of the South, Person of Interest, Luther, Message from the King, and Bates Motel, amongst others. Or Prison Break. Yeah, actually, I might go back to Prison Break as well. Anyway, thank you very much indeed. They were brilliant suggestions, and hopefully they'll help a lot of you out if you're looking for stuff to watch over the next couple of days or weeks, as it happens to be. This is 98 FM.
The sound of the city, from Lucan to Lusk. Dublin Talks. 98 FM's Dublin Talks.
And this is Adrian Kennedy with you until midday today. Now, next on the programme, it appears that in the last month, joggers have become the new cyclists. The group of people that the public are loving to hate on. Now, as you know, since lockdown, we've never seen so many joggers on our streets and in our housing estates. With gyms closed, many people have taken up jogging. But not everyone is happy with them. In a moment, we'll be hearing from a listener, Rita, who says that in her housing estate in Swords, joggers are causing mayhem. Really? Anyway, to the point that she hates bringing her 2 children out in the evening for a walk around the green. She says that they don't move out of the way for pedestrians, they're spitting on the ground, sweating all over people, and generally not obeying social distancing. Last week, TV presenter Jonathan Ross suggested that it might be time to introduce jogger slots, certain times in the day that joggers are allowed out. Is that something you would support? Call me right now, 6797981. Another person who's spoken out about this, and I was interested to read her piece in the Herald today, is Amanda Brunker. And in today's Herald, Amanda speaks about how she was practically spat at by a jogger as he toddled along his way. She doesn't know if it was deliberately targeted at her, but it felt like, because she's been given out about joggers in the last couple of weeks. So I would like to hear from you on 6797981. You can text, WhatsApp, or send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. So we wanted to talk to a jogger to get their side. I need to read, firstly, before I talk to our first caller there, I need to read the message that we got from Rita. And here's what Rita said. You need to talk about this some morning on your show. Joggers. They are rude and do not know how to obey social distancing. In my estate in Swords, they've taken over. I think that might be an exaggeration now, Rita. But anyway, they run on the paths and don't move out of the way. They spit on the ground, also spreading their sweat. I've had 2 arguments this week with them because they ran too close to my children. It's gotten to the stage where I don't like bringing my children out for a walk because of them. I also contacted my local councillor to see what can be done. I appreciate that they want to exercise, but they need to learn manners and stay away from the rest of us with their coughing and spluttering. Please discuss this. I'll be listening. And that is from a lady called Rita. And I would like to hear from you on 6797 981. You can text, WhatsApp, or send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. Is Rita overreacting a little bit? Or does she have a point? That joggers are just being not very good when it comes to socially distancing and all of that. Let's take in some calls. If you want to get involved in the conversation, call me right now on 6797 981 or send a text, a WhatsApp or a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. Kate, you're on Dublin's 98 FM. How are you, Kate?
Good, how are you doing?
Good, thank you. Now, Kate, you are a jogger.
Yes.
And you're sick of getting dirty looks from the public.
Yes, well, I run in like quite a residential area, so what I'm finding is that there's people that I see out every single day, like the joggers and the walkers that go out at the same time every single evening. And we're quite lucky that we have a cycle lane. So what I'm finding is the people that I'm quite used to seeing, and as well people that are out in their outside gear and that I wouldn't necessarily see all the time, but one person steps right to the inside and the other person steps right to the outside. And thankfully as well, like, the roads are a lot less busy, is that, I can step like right into nearly the white line in the middle of the road and no cars will be coming near me. But what's happening as well now is that like I love kids, don't get me wrong, but parents are taking their kids out and not telling their children to stay away from other people. So the kids are out on their scooters and their bikes and mommy and daddy are all out together. And the kids are all over the place because they're not so used to cycling bikes so often. So the kids aren't...
Okay, so while you're out jogging, you're trying to dodge the kids on their bikes?
Yes.
Aha, right, okay.
Like, the thing is, the children are the super spreaders, and I think that some parents don't hear about that.
Hang on, I hate that expression being used about children. I don't think it's fair. There's no concrete evidence that they're anything like super spreaders. But anyway, we'll bypass that because we're not going to lock our children indoors, okay? They have to be allowed out to get a bit of fresh air and whatever. But anyway, you're finding, as a jogger, that you're getting dirty looks.
Yes, whereas I'm finding a lot of the joggers that are out are the ones that are trying to stay fit, trying to stay outside, keep the exact same routine. We're the ones that have been out the whole time. But the parents, and again, I love kids. I'm often out and we'll keep the social distancing and I'm out interacting with the kids on my street. Do you like helping them? Do you like to throw the ball and stuff with my dog? And we have a little ball stick, so they'll kick the ball, and so there's no touching. It's all about social interaction with each other, but at a safe distance. But when you're out, it's the kids that aren't used to being out on the roads the whole time that don't realise that the footpath is for everybody. And I think the parents kind of think that, oh well, it's my absolute right to get out, and it's like, yes, it is, but tell your children we'll stay right in up against the wall. So other people can get past us, not that the kids go all over the footpath and other people have because at some point you cannot keep 2 meters of distance. So especially when a child's all over the place on a bike or a scooter, it's nearly impossible. So yes, it's hold your breath, get past them really, really quickly. And again, I don't agree at all with spitting. I don't. I jog and I run. And I have never done that, so I think that's just disgusting. I don't care if it's a man or a woman. That's absolutely disgusting. It is
disgusting, and I have seen it myself, and it is horrible to see. But it is sometimes if you're jogging, maybe you have to. I don't know. Do you have to spit?
I don't.
Okay, you don't.
It's rotten.
Yeah. Okay, stay there for 1 second, Kate. 6797 981 is our telephone number. You can text, you can WhatsApp, you can send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. Here's a WhatsApp voice note that came in to us from Ben.
I'm not the biggest fan of joggers. Majority of them I found are just rude. They're not giving you enough space when they pass you, spitting, they're coughing. It's horrible. So what I've done is, my German Shepherd, she's a big girl, big 50 kilos, and she despises joggers. So I give her about 6 foot lead. Joggers, surprisingly, stay about 6 feet away.
I don't know if we should recommend that, in fairness. Have you seen anybody leaving their Alsatian on a big long lead?
I have a little terrier who we take her out in the evening time because she's quite slow. So again, when the roads are quieted down, and she doesn't like people jogging towards me, so I would have to agree with you.
Okay, stay there for a second. Sorka, you're on Dublin's 98 FM. Hiya, Sorka.
I'm fuming after listening to her. I am absolutely fuming.
Why are you fuming?
I'll tell you why. I have a little one. She's just gone for And I bring her out, say, twice a day on her little trike. Now, I live just, say, off Clough Road. Clough Road, the footpaths are wide. So I'm pushing her along the trike. Now, there could be 3 or 4 joggers coming towards me. 4 or 5 times yesterday, I had to push my daughter out onto the road to get past them to try and keep a distance away from them. They're ignorant to anyone that's jogging coming along. They're coming towards you in their group. They will not move. They're on that footpath. And for her to say about kids, number one, do not understand what is going on at the moment. We're trying to do our best for our kids, get them out, get a bit of fresh air, keep social distance. And yet these joggers who are meant to be like adults won't move. They just won't budge out of their group. And you're trying to guide your child along their little bike or their trike, and you're having to go out onto the road to get away from them. It's like as if they think they're saintly or godly or something going along.
Kate, there is, I have to be honest with you, now obviously you're not the spokesperson for every jogger in Ireland, but I have to say, I never even thought this would ever be a conversation, and the amount of people contacting us, giving out yards about joggers, thinking they own the road, you're not one of those joggers though, are you?
No, I have 2 problems with that. One is that I always stay to the outside because that I would never expect a child to go anywhere near the edge of the road, be it a normal day or any other day. I would hate to see a child at the edge of the road. So I stick to the outside, and if that's not feasible, I find like a driveway to pull back into so the child can pass without the parent or the child going to the edge. So even if I'm like, oh my God, the child's all over the place, I wouldn't expect them or the parent to push them out on the road. That's just dangerous. And second of all, I don't jog in a group in the first place because I find people quite annoying to talk to when I am jogging. And second of all, I don't jog in a group, especially at the moment. Like, I haven't seen friends, family in over a month. I don't.
Okay, so you're doing your jogging all by yourself?
Yeah.
Okay, stay there for 1 second. 6797981 is our telephone number. Sorka, let me ask you.
Yeah.
Obviously, Kate doesn't represent every jogger out there.
I'm just saying from what I see every day.
So what would you like to see being done then? I mean, is there anything that we can do? Right. I know in other countries, like in New Zealand, they're talking about widening footpaths and stuff like that.
Well, that's going to be unrealistic. Come on, we can't even fix bumps on the road now.
No, well, that's very true.
Come on, so let's keep it real. I don't know if people want to jog. I understand it. You know what I mean? You want to run yourself to your grey area, do what you want. But maybe if they went, say, down, I don't know, if I wanted to jog, what I do is I would go down to the park and I would say if I want to do 2 or 3 kilometres, I would just say do laps of the park or whatever, or things like that, and then come back. I just think at the moment...
So you're saying they shouldn't be running on streets in the States and stuff like that?
I feel for the time being,
Because they have to do their exercise within the 2 kilometres of their house.
Hasn't everybody got a green or a park near them within 2 kilometres?
Not everybody. Do you, Kate?
No.
No. Not everybody does.
I just think maybe a bit more respect. I just feel, for people, I mean, you're trying to do your best as a non-jogger. You're trying to do your best going along with your kid. And not just me. I've seen on Clough Road, everybody trying to bring out their little toddlers or whatever on trikes and bikes, give them their little bit of exercise out, without infecting the whole country, as they're super spreaders, apparently not. And you're trying to do your thing and explain to the kids, what's going on, and we'll go out for an hour. And then these are just bombarding you. And, they take up the footpath, they just come straight towards you. They don't take any consideration, well, that child might be only 2 or 3 years of age. Sorry, they don't understand what's going on, love.
You see, Sorka, I have to be honest with you. I have seen, now it hasn't affected me, but I have seen as I'm driving, kids out with mammy, they're on their little bikes, and on main roads they're swerving all over the shop because because as Kate said, they're not used to being out cycling as often as they are.
And I've seen that down further from where I live, and that's gone. How do I put it? Them sort of families are going to do them sort of things regardless of what's going on in the country at any time. There's just no authority in anywhere.
Yeah, all right, okay. Stay there for 1 second. Carol, why are you annoyed?
Well, my thing is just the way the First Lady spoke about calling the children super spreaders. I just think, I too have brought my 2 children out walking, and the looks people give, they practically go out in the middle of the road. But the reality is my 2 children haven't been to a shop, to a playground, to a park, nothing for over 3 weeks. So they don't have a snotty nose and nothing. So I just find it very upsetting that people just think suddenly it's okay to start talking about children like this. as you said, there's no real evidence of this. And
no, I have to say, I do take exception to people using expressions like super spreaders and all of that. There has been absolutely no evidence of that.
I can see it when I'm out walking, and I have one of my kids in the youngest, I put him in the buggy, and then my eldest then is beside me on the inside, so I'm very conscious of it. But you can see people nearly going out in the middle of the road, and it's like, have you been to a supermarket? When was the last time you went to a supermarket? You probably, nobody knows. And I just think to be treating children, to be saying these random statements, it's just not fair, I feel, on children.
And like we said, it's not a fair expression, and people should not be discriminating against children, as we've heard many examples over the last couple of weeks. We're not going to we can't lock children up. We have to live with this. We can't lock children up, and any suggestion otherwise is ridiculous. All right, Carol, 6797 981 is our telephone number. You can text, WhatsApp, or send a WhatsApp voice note. Brian, you think walkers are worse? Why?
Absolutely. I'm part of a running club, Jeremy, and we're out rain, hail, snow all year round. And now at the moment, you've tons of walkers out walking their dogs out all over the roads, kids on bikes all over the place. It's just madness, They're not complaining about joggers when it's raining.
Just when it's not?
Oh, when it's not raining. Or when it's raining, the joggers are still out. You don't get people out with their kids on the bikes in the rain.
No, well, that's very true, actually, yeah. But the way things are at the minute, and the way things have been for the last few weeks, the weather's been lovely, and we have all been able to get out.
Yeah, and the government are saying, don't go out that much, You can go out for your short walks and stuff, but, everyone's doing what they can. Everyone's trying to get their exercise in, and we all just have to be respectful of each other. And not all joggers are doing that. There's only a small minority of them.
Enough that I'm getting an awful lot of calls, Brian, from people annoyed with joggers, surprisingly. Yeah. I never knew this was a thing until I started hearing that it was a thing. Thank you, Brian. 6797 981 is our telephone number. Text, WhatsApp, or send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98.
The sound of the city from Balbriggan to Blanchardstown. Dublin Talks. 98 FM's Dublin Talks.
Wednesday morning. Good morning from Adrian Kennedy. We're here until midday today. By the way, I mention this to you regularly, and regularly we get a lot of stuff coming into us, of stuff that you want us to talk about on Dublin Talks, which is the morning phone-in talk show for Dublin, by Dublin, and about Dublin and its people. And if there's anything that you would like us to bring up on the programme, send us an email at any time to Dublin Talks, all one word, at 98fm.com. Dublin Talks, all one word, at 98fm.com. And that is exactly what Rita did. And that's the conversation we're having at this moment. She said, you need to have a conversation about this on your show. Joggers. They are rude and do not know how to obey social distancing. In my estate in Swords, they have taken over. They run on the paths and don't move out of the way. They spit on the ground, also spreading their sweat. I've had 2 arguments this week with them because they ran too close to my children. It's gotten to the stage where I don't like bringing my children out for a walk because of them. I also contacted my local councillor to see what can be done. I appreciate that they want to exercise, but they need to learn manners and stay away from the rest of us with their coughing and spluttering. And that's from a lady called Rita. Leah sent me this.
What about people that the gym has closed for and they feel the need to exercise, and that's one of the ways they're going to exercise is jogging? I actually don't think it's fair that people are judging them for jogging. They're just jealous that they can't jog.
Maybe. No, is this from Anne?
You have a point. I'm not jogger, but this sound like a witch hunting. The woman is paranoid.
Okay, Dayan. Sorry, that person was. And one more. This is from Ali.
Kate obviously doesn't have children of her own as yet. I think that's absolutely disgraceful. They're only children and they're going through a tough enough time as it is, and now you want them to take the weight of the world on their shoulders when they're out for a little walk and move out of your way. You're the adult, Kate. if you see something that you potentially think you're putting yourself in danger from the super spreaders, perhaps you should be the adult and move out of their way, as opposed to waiting on a child to have the sense to move out of your way. There's a huge difference between children and adults. I just think you're talking a lot of crap, to be honest.
Okay, thank you. Well, Kate?
God, like the other one said, there's a bit of a witch hunt. I think that the world is made for everybody, and it sounds, like from that woman, it's like, oh my God, everyone's just bow on their knees to children. And I know I'm going to get so much like, oh my God, what did she just say there? Like I said, I really like kids. I babysit all the time, purely because I love spending time with children. I think to say to children at the moment, there's been so many things online, so many videos that people have made. Simon Harris did a thing, did a video there explaining stuff to children. I think children already know what's going on. They're already scared as much as the rest of us. I think that at the moment they need to be told, there's the germs that are outside. We don't want to get near them. So what we do is if we see somebody coming, we just go to the inside of the footpath, and then hopefully they'll go to the outside, because I always do. Like I said, I would never expect a child to move so much out of my way. But again, there's quite large footpaths. They're big enough for everybody. So if a child is on a bike, Mammy and Daddy just, okay, come on, little one, you just pop inside and cycle a bit closer to the wall there, and that lady will go to the outside. And hopefully other people do that, and I know I do that, so I'm really hoping that other joggers will also start to do that, because I think if you don't, it is really, really ignorant. I can understand completely why people are upset. But yes, being an adult, I moved to the outside, but parents should also be the adults and tell their children and educate their children before they go outside into a world at the moment where everybody's scared. I can understand why people are coming on, because it obviously, people are petrified their children are going to get sick. You're the most important people in your lives. Obviously you're petrified. But then educate your children that if you're outside in the world and on footpaths where the rest of the community is, you just go to the inside. And that's not a bad thing, I don't think, to say. Do you educate the children who are out running or walking or having to do a little run along with Mammy and Daddy? You pop to the inside, and then that means there's space for everybody. Not that there's a child on a bike going all over the place, because sometimes it's not feasible to go to the outside if there's a tractor or a lorry or multiple few cars passing. It's not feasible to go right out in the middle of the road. We've taken up another hospital bed.
All right, Kate, stay there for 1 second. Laura, you're on 98 FM. Hiya, Laura.
Hiya, how are you?
Now, what's your reaction to this conversation?
Well, as I've said in my Facebook, I'm a runner. I train for marathons, etc. I honestly think, now, I'm not for or against anybody here, but I'm a runner. I go out running at the weekends now. I used to go out running 4 or 5 times a week during the weekdays, but since the corona has taken place, I'm trying to do as much as possible indoor workouts. But I think it's because everybody is panicking because of the virus. Everybody's attacking each other. Now, okay.
And I do agree with you. I do feel there is this little bit of tension in the air that wasn't there a couple of weeks ago, and I've seen it in supermarkets with one woman screaming at another to get away from her and stuff like that. I don't like, though, when the conversation turns towards children. I just think it's very unfair.
Well, I think it's unfair for everybody, children, families, runners and joggers, because everybody is trying to get outside, trying to get in their daily exercise, trying to improve their mental health, trying not to snap indoors, because at the end of the day, Leo gave the go ahead for us to have a bit of exercise every day. Now, what I don't like is there seems to be an attack on the runners. Now, I know myself, I go out for a run, and if I see a group of people, I run on the opposite side of the road. There just seems to be a big attack on the runners at the moment, and I kind of understand this discussion if there's people spitting. I do understand that, but at the end of the day, there's people that like running, cycling, walking, and there should be there
should be room for everyone.
Well, yeah, I the other day was out running in the park, and there was a family of 5, and they took up the whole path. Now, luckily I was able to find a bit of distance to run by them, but I shouldn't have to move type of thing. It should be, I think, if I'm running towards them, they'd be like, oh, there's a jogger coming by, trying to move single file. I don't want to be kind of shouting at anybody because I'm not that type of person. But I've noticed there's been a lot of that going on. Like, I know I haven't seen any groups of runners run together because, as they say, you can't be running in a group. So I don't know why those kind of things can't be kind of put towards a family. Like, I'm not, obviously kids, they're obviously not going to, it has to be for the parents to say, look, there's a runner coming along, just kind of move in a bit. Obviously, if it takes a bit of delay, then they just kind of move. But I just kind of noticed there's a lot of that going on where...
Yeah, no, I've noticed it myself.
Yeah.
All right, stay there for 1 second, Laura. Let me have a listen to this WhatsApp voice note from Alan.
Morning, lads. Just want to say to that listener that said that kids are super spreaders. Why not do what cars have to do when they're behind the truck? Slow down, wait till it's safe to overtake and move out onto the road. Kids need exercise too. Thanks, lads. Bye-bye.
All right. Anya, you're on 98 FM. Hi, Anya.
Hi, guys.
Well, Anya, what did you want to say on this?
I just wanted to know how old Kate was. Is she an adult?
She's not on the line anymore, but she sounded very much like an adult to me, a young adult.
Okay, well, to be fair, the people who are talking about this are first world problem brigaders. And I'd like to ask Kate, is she part of any community group? Is she helping anyone? Or is she just jogging along?
Is that really any of our business? Is it really any of our business? This conversation... No, this conversation is about jogging.
This conversation is about a first world problem. She's out jogging and she's worried about children. It's she clearly is bored. Maybe she's nothing to do. She could find someone to help. I mean, really and truly, we're in a crisis. These are children. We didn't grow up with this, but these children are growing up with this strange situation. I think if parents are trying to shield their children from what's really going on and bringing them out, and you're a jogger, just jog around them or get a real problem.
Okay. Yeah. All right, Anya, thanks very much indeed. Sean, you're on 98 FM. Hi, Sean.
Hi, Adrian. You well?
Good, thank you, Sean. You're a jogger?
I'm a runner, jogger, yes.
Okay, very good. Had any issues?
No, none whatsoever.
That's good to hear. Why do you think then that we're getting so many complaints about joggers?
Because there's not enough cyclists on the road at the moment, and they're normally the ones that are targeted.
Actually, somebody texted in a while ago, and you're actually probably right. Joggers have become the new cyclists for public hate campaigns.
They have, yeah. There's no doubt about it.
Why is that, Sean? Why are people picking on? Why is this woman who contacted me in the first place, and she wouldn't be the only one, by the way. We've had lots of complaints about this over the last week or two, and this woman is... it doesn't like bringing your children out for a walk because of joggers.
Well, some people like to have something to complain about. It keeps your show in existence. It keeps Joe Duffy on the go.
I suppose so.
I mean, realistically...
But in fairness, Sean, and honestly, I've had colleagues that I work with complaining about this as well. Not just that lady Rita. We've a load of people complaining about joggers not observing social distance. In fact, I had a woman on the show last week, and some jogger spat and it landed right beside her, and all of this.
Yes, but you won't stereotype any group out of the actions of a small number. Just as you wouldn't stereotype people of an area by the behaviour of a small number of people who live in an area. Sure, spitting is a despicable habit, whether it's a Premiership footballer on €1 million a week, or whether it's somebody out for a run, or whether it's all the people that spit their chewing gum all over the pavements of Dublin that has to be cleaned up. There are terrible habits out there. That can't be defended. But to just decide that this is a problem of the jogging and running community is all wrong. I mean, runners and walkers and cyclists have coexisted for years on the footpaths and on the roads. There's now more people competing for the same amount of space. And a little bit of common sense and a little bit of intelligence would go a long, long way.
And that applies to everything currently, but sadly, as you said, some people don't have the patience or the intelligence.
It's very simple. When we're on open roads in our cars and there's a white line down the middle and we know which side we have to stay on, we're all very good at that. But sometimes we go onto country lanes. There's not the width of two cars. It doesn't have a white line. And you just need courtesy. One person pulls in, the other goes by. There's not an onus on any one group to do it. It's not people who drive silver cars pull in and people who drive black cars drive through. And it's not a case of runners pull in, walkers go by, or vice versa. You just have to find an arrangement between the two, and it happens very quickly. It just needs
now, I know in other cities, Paris, for example, set aside special times for joggers. So I think it's from 7 till 10 in the evening or something like that in some of the districts in Paris, because this was becoming a major issue.
Yeah, well, I don't think most runners would have a problem with that. Most runners run within those hours anyway. You have a lot of the people who, as you said already, haven't got their gyms to go to, or they haven't got group training with their football clubs, and they're turning to doing some running to keep fit. So there's more people on the roads. They're out at different times of the day. But it's not all that difficult if people actually thought about what they were doing. If there's a family walking along the footpath, walk in single file along the wall, let the runner go to the roadside of the footpath.
Okay, so a bit of common sense is the point. Sienna, I'll be with you in a second, and Rosanna, I'll be with you as well. We're talking about joggers, and unbelievable reaction to this. We'll take a quick break. Back in a second. It's just gone 11 o'clock across Dublin. Good morning. This is Adrian Kennedy. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks, and this is Emma with Wednesday's top headlines.
Thanks, Adrian. Good morning. A woman in her 30s has been arrested and charged after allegedly spitting at a Garda and claiming she was waiting for the results of a coronavirus test. Gardaí say it happened at St Attractor Road in Cabra at around 6:20 yesterday evening. The number of cases of coronavirus across the globe has passed the 2 million mark. The death toll from COVID-19 has also increased to almost 127,000. Microsoft founder Bill Gates says the decision by the US to stop funding the World Health Organization is a dangerous one. He says the group's needed now more than ever, but Donald Trump has accused them of spreading disinformation about COVID-19. And a fundraising campaign to feed frontline workers nationwide has delivered 55,000 meals just 4 weeks after being set up. More than 15,000 people have donated to Feed the Heroes, raising more than €930,000. And now you're up to date on 98.
98 FM's Dublin Talks. Call 6797 981.
And good morning from Adrian Kennedy. Here is a WhatsApp voice note from Richie.
Hi Adrian, my name's Richie, and I've been jogging out on the streets for years now, not just before this pandemic started, but even now I've taken up going on long walks in the evening just to break up the day. So I do maybe 2 forms of exercise a day, one in the evening, one in the morning. Get out about 9 o'clock for the jog, so it's less busy on the roads. But even when I'm out walking, there's normal people not veering to the side, like using the full space, the footpath. They're literally just walking in the middle of the footpath. On Saturday morning just gone, I had to give out to 2 50-year-old men, basically, because the footpath was a good 10 foot wide, Walkerstown Avenue. I don't know if anyone knows it. They stood maybe 6 feet apart from each other and they expected me to run through the gap, where if they just had went single file, would have been way more sufficient space for me to run past. That's just one example, but there's plenty of it. Even yesterday, we were out on a walk. When I walked out into the road, and a woman wasn't moving, she was in the middle of the path. She ended up veering to the outside of the path, even though I was out walking on the road. Pure stupidity. And people with kids taking the full width of the path up. Like, tell your kids, if you see someone approaching, grab your kids, tell your kids, move in beside me. Like, it's not that hard. So I don't think joggers are to blame on their own. To be honest, it's just everyone not heeding or having a bit of cop on.
All right, Sienna, you're on 98 FM. Hi, Sienna.
Hello.
You're a runner as well?
I am. I go for my run every morning, and I've not seen a problem with anybody. If there's a small path, or even like I kind of live kind of in the country, so there would be trees and little kind of dirt paths. And if it's narrow, people will stop, and either I will stop or they will stop, and they will let me run through, or they walk or run through. I would never ever let a woman and a child, or anybody and a child, or anybody and a dog go onto the road. I would always be the one to go onto the road, and they would always go into the inside. It's never been a problem. Personally, I think it's great to see people getting out in the sun. And
it is fantastic. You know, I happen to live out, well, in North County Dublin, but in a rural part of North County Dublin, and there's very few people around, so it's not an issue where I live. We can go out for our walk and not a bother. But I know in the city where you're in housing estates and whatever, it is much more of an issue.
Yeah, no, I know. I live where there is lots of housing estates, and I do run quite where there is housing estates. But even in the housing estates, it's not really been a problem. When I'm running, you know, there's still people saying hello and, you know, smiling and everything. I've not came across anybody. I've never ever seen a runner spit. I would never spit on the ground. I think that's absolutely appalling. But it's been fine.
Well, actually, let me read this message that's just come in to me. Yeah. And it says, Adrian, please remind that last man who was on there a couple of minutes ago that this isn't about the jogger. It's about the spreading of bodily fluid dripping off that jogger. Can people not just walk until this is all over? Sweating all over the place isn't good. How hard is that to understand? I see jogging all over Tala, and I think they seem to be putting out a message that no one will stop them from doing so. Pure idiots. I'm looking after 4 kids and haven't been outside the door with them. So basically what that person is saying is it should be illegal to sweat while you're jogging.
I know. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. I think people have a lot of time on their hands now, and they're just really, really getting on that Facebook, and people are just fighting. They're agitated. I can see where everybody's coming from. Yes, you do sweat a lot more when you run, but that's personally, I've been running since before this pandemic started, and I personally don't want to stop, and I don't want to see people coming onto Facebook and causing these arguments and making people like us stop our morning activities. I go in the morning personally because there's less people around.
Yeah, we all know that this virus spreads with droplets. I always understood that those droplets come from your mouth, not from beads of sweat. Now, maybe I'm totally wrong there. Somebody can correct me on that, but I didn't think it was from beads of sweat. And anyway, who is jogging around with sweat flying off them? No, it's ridiculous. I think people just have a lot of time on their hands now. Yes, of course, get out with your kids, get out and run, get out and walk. But we don't need to take it out on each other. Everybody just needs a way to get through this pandemic. And if it's for you, if it's for running, working out inside, I used to go to the gym, 5-6 days before this all happened. And I'm missing that routine. So for me, I ran before that, like I said. So getting out, getting into the air, because I'm young. And for me, it's hard to stay inside all day. So it's for me, it's an outlet. It's how I get out and get active through this pandemic. We all have a coping way. And for people to come on bashing runners and stuff like that, I don't think it's right. All right.
That's my opinion.
Keep up the good running. Well done.
Thank you.
Where am I going now? Rosanna, you can see this from both sides because you're a jogger but also a parent.
I am, yeah. So like that girl that was just on, I go out for my run in the morning because, again, it's so much quieter, and I bring my children out for a walk in the afternoon. But this girl that messaged in, bringing them out in the evening, I tried bringing my kids for a walk in the evening. It is the busiest time of the day. There are people everywhere, and my kids don't have the capacity to understand that they have to stay away from people. So, just bring them out at a different time.
And get over yourself. Is that really what you're saying? That's what a lot of other people have said.
Pretty much. I mean, she's not special because she has kids. I have kids too. I'm not special either. But they don't understand. And I know that people are saying, they don't understand, so you have to give them space. And that's true to a point, but they're my responsibility to look after.
And actually, somebody just sent me a good message and food for thought for people who are giving out about joggers, okay? And it says, to that message that Adrian just read out, people are still in training for different things. And that can be training for if you're a GA player or if you're an athlete of any sort, you can't let up on your training. But these people whinging won't be out walking after all this is over. You can guarantee that. He's probably right.
But there's an element to that too. I've never seen the streets as busy. No. And it is great to see people out, but I just hope they all remember how good this exercise was for them when it's all over.
Yeah. Will they though? That's the thing. Maybe so. Adrian, respect to runners for keeping fit and healthy, but jogging and running is side activity, and they're not prioritised on footpaths. If the path is not crowded, they can run freely. Other than that, we have to prioritise walkers. Don't know why, but anyway. Bianca, you're on 98 FM. Hi, Bianca.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. What did you want to say on this?
I find that our society is becoming most utterly intolerant towards each other. If somebody can't get out at something, then I don't know. I find this very disturbing.
Okay, you are a walker, and you've had some bad experiences yourself.
Well, I am a dog owner, so I walk a lot, have my routine, have set times, and of course, due to the situation, much more people are on the road. And if you walk and, you get these looks if you are an alien nowadays. I don't understand. I have no tolerance towards this. Everybody should do what they have to do and live and let live.
No, I do agree with you that certain people are more on edge than others in terms of, being stressed by this whole thing. And some people are reacting very differently. This is all new to every single one of us.
Absolutely, I do agree. But your anxiety, your personal anxiety, shouldn't dictate other people's life. If you have an anxiety and you have difficulties coping with more increased people on the road, then unfortunately you have to, you don't have to face your anxiety by mixing with the people on the road. There are certain times where it is more quiet than the others. So if you are at concern, then go out at times where it's
not going to be as busy. All right. Thank you very much indeed. My husband says this message is a runner, and he too gives out about runners. Even when we're out walking, people seem to think the whole path is theirs. Even when we walk in single file, they make no effort to move. It's very frustrating. And it's not the joggers that are annoying you. Who is it?
I live in Dublin, Adrian, and most evenings I put a jog on the lay down against my jog, and I go for the walk. And it's lovely, as I said, it's such a sad time in the world. It's lovely to see everybody out healthy and being able to run and walk. That's my motto, really. But basically, last night and the night before, I went down along the canal down by the Marble Arch pubway, if you know that way in Dublin. Yep. And on the canal side, and anything like the skateboards and the roller skates.
Oh, right.
And they're not showing a bit of mercy at you. I've nothing against runners or joggers. Fair play to them. I wish I could run. I'd be delighted with myself. I could run. And I haven't no problem with them. But last night and the night before, there was a couple of young lads and girls. Now, I know they have to go on skateboards and roller skates. So you're going one way, they're going, and you don't know which way we're going. And that's the problem I have.
Right, so maybe that'll be tomorrow's conversation. Skateboards and trim.
I'm going to move out with skates. I'll be like Charles and Dave down the canal tonight.
All right, good to talk to you, Anne. Thanks very much indeed. A few more WhatsApp voice notes just to wrap this up. This is from Sarah.
Hi, Adrian. Most of these runners and joggers run all throughout the year, not just now because we can't. A high percentage of the families and these dog walkers, once this is all over, you'll never see them again. I run every day and I've never seen half of these people in my life. And you can guarantee when this is all over, the roads will be quiet yet again.
And you're right, I think, Sarah. Deirdre says people walking two abreast is the problem here.
Hi, Adrian. Just listen to your discussion on joggers. I myself will go out for a jog, and I find when I'm jogging and let's just say, for example, meet a couple walking on a footpath, I have to swerve out on the road because they're still walking two abreast. They don't go into single file or make an effort to go to the other side of the path, so you're given that space. So I think maybe walkers just need to be more vigilant. If you're in groups or twos or threes and you're meeting someone, just move into single file, so then you're eliminating the danger of the jogger having to run onto the road to try and get that 2 metres. I think joggers are very aware of it, and from what I have seen, they spend more time out on the road running past people because they're not going into single file. Thanks,
Okay,
Deirdre.
and thank you very much indeed, Deirdre. And finally, Tracy sent me this message.
My God, Adrian, aren't we just a load of moans? Like, we'll always find something to moan about. I have never had a problem with joggers, and I live near a park, and sometimes I'd actually move out their way, you know, if I'm on my own and I don't want to break that rhythm or whatever. So, Jesus, stop moaning, everyone. Give it over. It's Tracy from Drimnagh.
Okay, Tracy in Drimnagh. Watch out for the skateboards and the rollerblades. It's a big problem in Drimnagh, apparently. All right, you're listening to 98 FM's Dublin Talks. This is Adrian Kennedy. We're here until midday today. Now, after the break, because of the lockdown, many couples are now spending much more time together at home than ever before. And in many cases, this is a good thing. Your relationship, if it's a strong relationship, will blossom through all of this. But in many cases, it's not a good thing. We're going to be hearing about a new advertising campaign starting today for people who happen to be living in situations of domestic abuse. We'll find out a little bit more about that campaign straight after the break.
The sound of the city from Drumcondra to Dorky. Dublin Talks. 98 FM's Dublin Talks.
And this is Adrian Kennedy. We're here until midday today. If you become aware of domestic abuse happening near where you live or in your next door neighbour's house, would you or do you or have you done anything about it? You may have seen on the Late Late Show last Friday, a survivor of domestic violence has encouraged people to call the Gardaí if they become aware of domestic abuse or hear a violent altercation. Jessica Bowes also said many victims are treading on eggshells during the current COVID-19 pandemic. And as I said, she was speaking on the Late Late Show last Friday. Have a quick listen to just some of what she said last week.
Sometimes the attitude is if she wants to call the guards, she'd call them herself.
Yes.
Let's not get involved. But not everyone has access to a phone. Without a crisis or without a fight or without a physical altercation, a lot of people don't have access to a phone. Your phone might have been smashed. You might just not be allowed to have a phone. Don't assume that somebody is not calling the guards because they don't want to. They may not be able to call the guards. So if you do become aware of an incident unfolding, I would absolutely encourage anybody who hears some sort of domestic to call the guards. My neighbours saved my life. You know, I needed that bystander intervention or I probably wouldn't be here. It's so important that people step up when they know something's happening and that they try to help.
All right. Now, that was on the Late Late Show on Friday last. A major new campaign seeking to reassure domestic violence victims that services to help them are still operating amid the COVID-19 pandemic is beginning today. The adverts as part of the Still Here campaign are starting across radio and television today, and they depict the reality for victims of domestic abuse when their home is no longer safe. Just want to give you an idea of a couple of the adverts. Here's the first one.
Come on, love. Let's go in here. Is this hide and seek? Okay. One.
It's harder than ever to hide from domestic violence. That's why all frontline services and helplines are still answering calls and providing support. If you're in immediate danger, call 112 or 999.
I know you're both in there. I'm going nowhere.
If your home isn't safe, support is still here. Go to stillhere.ie for a list of supports, an initiative of the Government of Ireland with frontline services in your community.
Okay, so that's one of the adverts, and here is a different one, and this is geared toward men who may be in that sort of a situation.
Emergency services?
Hi.
What service do you require?
Who are you talking to?
Ma'am, how are you?
Get back here!
Fine. No, these restrictions aren't easy.
I said, who are you talking to?
Are you in danger?
Yes.
We're sending help now.
Call yourself a man or not the door.
If your home isn't safe, support is still here. Go to stillhere.ie for a list of supports, an initiative of the Government of Ireland with frontline services in your community.
Now, as we know, we're all struggling in our own ways in dealing with the life that we have to lead at this moment. And, an awful lot of people are very stressed. An awful lot of people deal with it in different ways. But if you're living in a situation of an abusive relationship, whether you're a woman or a man, this lockdown has to make life much, much more difficult. And I'm joined on the line to find out a little bit more about this by Priscilla Granger, who's the founder of Stop Domestic Violence in Ireland. Priscilla, good morning and welcome to 98 FM. How are you?
Good morning, Adrian. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. For many of us who live in a relatively happy home, this can be a particularly stressful time on relationships, on friendships, on whatever. But in other situations where there is abuse within the household, this has to be an absolute nightmare.
It's horrific. It's absolutely horrific. It's you got to remember, first of all, that the abusers, be it man or woman, don't have access to the pub, don't have access to the bookies. Maybe now they're running out of money, so they don't have access to maybe drugs. So it has become worse. To the point
actually, I never thought of all of that. That stuff that would perhaps keep somebody like that entertained, for want of a better word, the pub or the bookies or whatever. Yeah. None of that is available to them.
No. So as a result, their buzz, as we used to call it in Gamanon, where we would go for support, there's no buzz because there's no horses, there's no betting. They mightn't have. There is online betting, of course, but they mightn't have access to phones, which most of them don't have money anyway. And as a result, frontline person that they're living with gets it. Be it a child, be it man, woman, or child, dog gets it, animal gets it.
So, do we know if this lockdown that we're all living through has led to an increase in domestic violence?
Absolutely.
And I was about to say, I'm reckoning there must be because of the need to put out this advertising campaign.
Absolutely. And Jessica Bowes, I reiterate on what she has said. And we would be, both of us, we're our survivors, along with my daughter. But the bottom line is, and I have to give credit where credit is due, I give credit to the Minister for Justice, Charlie Flanagan, for what he has done. To increase the Gardaí capacity. I had 4 barring orders last week. 4. I never had 4 barring orders before we ever went into lockdown.
So these are 4 different people that you helped last week alone to get to get barring orders.
And I have to give credit to Blanchardstown Garda Station and Lucan Garda Station, who arrested and brought before the courts the perpetrators.
Okay, so it's not just anecdotally. We know for a fact that incidents of domestic violence has increased since this lockdown began.
Absolutely. And not alone that, and this is a terrible thing for me to say as a survivor, but there's more Gardaí now on the street. And do you know that we are now being recognised as victims of domestic violence? Our victims are being recognised because the Gardaí are there. But what's going to happen when the lockdown is over? Where is it going to go? They need to make domestic violence a crime and make it easy for the guards.
One of the things that was said on the Late last Friday by Jessica Bowe was that when neighbours hear a violent altercation, sometimes the attitude is, if she wanted to call the guards, she'd call them herself. Let's not get involved.
Correct.
Did anybody ever call the guards when you were that victim?
No, and Jessica said a very valid point. Some people don't have access to a phone. Now, in 1999 or 2000, I remember one night the landline was disconnected in my home, and he put it in the boot of his car and drove off. I didn't have a mobile phone. So that will tell you, even going back then, But no, my neighbours wouldn't call because, sure, it's not my business to do that.
But you obviously would agree with what Jessica said. And again, I'll quote what she said on the Late Late. Sometimes the attitude of people is if she wanted to call the guards, she'd call them herself. Let's not get involved. But she also went on to say that her neighbours ultimately saved her life when they intervened a few years ago. Now, why do you think, Priscilla, that people don't and almost turn a blind eye and don't want to get involved?
Brush it onto the carpet, it'll go away, it's not my business, it's nothing to do with us. We don't know who he is. Who could he be involved with? We could be in danger. That's the attitude. And that's where it's wrong. And when you look at the likes of the States in Manhattan, when we went over and did a 2-day drive around, the victims don't have to give statements. If the victim has been abused in Manhattan, the neighbours can report it and their statement is used to confirm that that person has been beaten up. So they encourage the neighbours and the friends to report any form of domestic violence that they know of.
So I want you to imagine listening to us right now is somebody, a man or woman, and in fact the ads are quite clever in that regard, that it doesn't just focus on women, because we're aware that an awful lot of men go through chronic domestic abuse as well. But for somebody listening to us right now who has lived with this abuse for a long time, but it's gotten worse in the last couple of weeks because they, as you said, they're bored. They're at home all the time, and the abuser is taking it out on their victim. Let me ask you, Priscilla, what would you say to that woman or man listening to us right this very second for whom those ads actually meant something?
Well, if somebody needed to make contact, go for your little 10-minute walk. Get out for your 2K walk if you can. If you have a phone, contact somebody. Contact us. Contact Women's Aid. Contact somebody. Plan it. Delete it. Set up a false Facebook page. Delete it, and keep a note. But talk to somebody. You need to be able to talk to somebody.
Okay, so how would, because obviously if somebody hasn't contacted anybody up to now, they may not know who to talk to. And you said contact us. Your organisation is Stop
Domestic Violence in Ireland.
Yeah, Stop Domestic
Violence. You can contact myself, Priscilla Granger, my daughter Amy Granger. We could go for a walk in the Phoenix Park. We can have a chat. We have a solicitor on board. We have a barrister on board. Barring orders, protection orders and safety orders are being given out in the courts. Barring order means that the perpetrator is removed from the home and immediately.
Okay, so if you're going through, obviously if you're going through any form of domestic violence, it's appalling, but if it's worse at this moment, you're saying make a phone call to somebody
make the phone call.
like
make
yourself.
That phone call.
And let me ask you as well, Priscilla, making that phone call, what then is the next step? Is it to get a barring order? Is it to move out of the house? Is it?
Yes, absolutely. That is the key. It's to get the barring order. And by getting the barring order, you're getting the perpetrator out of the house. And that's where I'm not saying it makes it easier, but it gives these people this could go on for months. This lockdown could go on. And we're hoping it's only going to go on to the 5th of May and that the courts will reopen. But this could go on for months. People need to be saved. There's going to be murders.
And obviously we can't go into specifics, but with the 4 cases that you dealt with last week where you applied for barring orders, is it exactly this sort of scenario that they were at home?
And you know what it is? Three out of the 4 cases was emotional abuse and financial abuse. There was one violent abuse where she was bet up. But the others were emotional abuse, where it was non-stop at her and at her and at her, and provoking the person, upsetting the children and shouting and screaming in the house. And in the end, she had enough evidence because I gave her the tools of what she needed to do to build that evidence up, which I'm not going to say over the phone. We keep that.
No, that's fine.
Secret.
That's fine. Absolutely.
And I give them the tools along with Amy, and we give them the tools, and then they have their case built within 2 days and they're ready for court. But all they've got to do is make that call to us. We will help them. We will protect them. Nobody will know. Nobody, and we will guarantee that they're safe.
The people, as you said, it can be a situation where they're not in a position to make that phone call. They're not in a position to get out of the house. And yet, and this is something that I want to focus on for a couple of minutes, and that is people, neighbours, friends getting involved and speaking out, because that man or woman being abused may not be able to speak out. As you said, may not have a phone, may not be able to call you. You, like Jessica, are urging people to get involved, not to ignore it.
Yeah, I mean, we have a situation where I have a case at the moment, and it's actually a gentleman, okay, and I've given him a code, and the code to his sister, be it he has to go to her house to live down the country, and the code is black coat. And if he says, "Where's me old black coat?" that's the code, he's in trouble. Because she's with him non-stop.
Okay, I want to just run Priscilla, bear with me for 1 second. I want to run a very quick Dublin Talks text poll where I want to ask you this question. Would you or have you ever reported an incident of domestic abuse? Would you or have you ever reported an incident of domestic abuse? Text the word yes or no. No being, no, I'd mind my own business. And send it right now to 0877 98 98 98, okay? So once again, the question is, would you or have you ever reported an incident of domestic abuse? If you heard it from a neighbour's house or whatever the case may be. Send me a yes or no by text message right now to 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. Would you or have you ever reported an incident of domestic abuse if you heard it from a neighbour's house or whatever? Because of a shocking message that came into us. And it says, for weeks, my next door neighbours, he was abusing her. She used to be black and blue. One night I heard things smash, so my wife said, call the guards. I did, but she denied anything was going on in the house. And the next day, he had a pop at me and saying to the neighbour that I was spreading lies. In some cases, you can't win. And Priscilla, just on that point, that is the fear that a lot of people have about getting involved.
Correct. And also, you have a situation where you would have the perpetrator or the abuser who would basically wear back down the victim and say, oh, I won't do it again, and I promise it'll never happen again. And then what happens then is they may go back in and withdraw the barring order and withdraw their statement, which does happen. We've got to be realistic. It does happen. And this is why, if domestic violence was made a crime, it would be taken more serious, because when a statement is made, that they cannot go back on it.
Okay, so once again, for anybody who might be listening to us now who was in a domestic violence situation, you would urge them to call people like yourselves in Stop Domestic Violence in Ireland.
Women's Aid, Safe Ireland, any of the groups do great work out there. And as I say, I know we're going to have a new government, I hope very soon. And one thing I would plead is leave the Minister for Justice, Charlie Flanagan. He's highly experienced in domestic violence now. He knows all about it. We're nearly there. He's good at what he's doing. I would say, probably the most proactive minister we've had. But leave him there. We're nearly there. We're not too far off it. But again, I reiterate, anybody out there, please take this serious. If it's not for you, do it for your children.
All right. Well, Priscilla Granger from Stop Domestic Violence in Ireland, thank you very much indeed for talking to us on 98 FM. And
thank you, Adrian.
Once again, if anybody is affected by this, please reach out for help. I want to just play you the adverts once again. This is part of the campaign that was launched here in Ireland today.
Services?
Hi.
What service do you require?
Who are you talking to?
Ma'am, how are you?
Get back here!
Fine. No, These restrictions aren't easy.
I said, who are you talking to?
Hello? Are you in danger?
Yes.
We're sending help now.
Call yourself a man or lock the door.
If your home isn't safe, support is still here. Go to stillhere.ie for a list of supports. An initiative of the Government of Ireland with frontline services in your community.
Okay, that's one of the adverts, and then this is the other one.
Come on, love. Let's go in here. Is this hide and seek? Okay. 1.
It's harder than ever to hide from domestic violence. That's why all frontline services and helplines are still answering calls and providing support.
7.
If you're in immediate danger, call 112 or 999.
I know you're both in there. I'm going nowhere.
If your home isn't safe, support is still here. Go to stillhere.ie for a list of supports. An initiative of the Government of Ireland with frontline services in your community.
Okay, so once again, that is stillhere.ie for a list of supports. Okay, now Priscilla already named some of them, but those services are still available to you right now if you are experiencing any issues regarding domestic violence in your home. Let me just have a listen to this WhatsApp voice note. This is from a lady called Linda.
Hi, Adrian. Just a quick one on the domestic violence, where people were saying maybe they couldn't get to a phone. Make sure that you have a spare phone that the other partner doesn't know about. You don't even have to have credit on it to ring 999, as they call them, burner phones, but just make sure you have one of those. The other thing is the barring orders. Just be aware that if you get a barring order on somebody, if you invite them back into the house, you've broken the barring order, not them.
All right, Linda, thank you very much indeed. And I just want to finish up with a call on this, that we're putting through our voice disguise to protect her identity. And we're calling this lady Ciara. Ciara, welcome to 98 FM.
Thank you.
Ciara, you were a victim of domestic abuse at the hands of your dad.
No, I was a child who grew up in the 80s and my dad used to abuse my mother.
Oh, sorry, okay, right. And what did you want to say on this?
Just that making that phone call is so important if you do hear anything, because my dad used to unplug the landline and I would have to sneak across to the neighbours to call the guards.
And we were talking about whether... Well, we were playing the clip from Jessica Bowes last week on the Late Late where she's urging people. She says that her neighbours actually saved her life.
Yeah, I definitely agree, yeah.
Why do you think that so many people are reluctant? Because we hear these stories of how a message I just read out a couple of minutes ago from somebody saying that she denied anything was going on in the house at the end. And
well, that would be fear. My mum had done that a few times when the guards would come.
Because this message that I got, one night I heard things smash, so my wife said call the guards. I did, but she denied anything was going on in the house, and the next day he had a pop at me saying to the neighbourhood that I was spreading lies. I mean, who wants to get involved in all of that?
I know, but if you do call the neighbours and then the victim knows that you've called, maybe if they see you at the shop or out for a walk, she will know there's somebody else there. It's not easy to let the guards in, because back then there wasn't really much they'd done. The 80s were very different now. Thankfully things are changing, but I don't know. I just personally now I think you should make that phone call, because you can save a life, and think of the children that were there. If there's kids there, it's just a very volatile situation. Just take a chance. I would regret something if I didn't intervene, and I have, where I'd lived somewhere else, there was domestic issues next door, and I did call the guards.
Yeah, I mean, I've just gotten a message in from...
Hey, do you know what will go great with this radio show right now? A scrumptious Cadbury snack.
Crumbly biscuit smothered in smooth, delicious Cadbury milk chocolate.
Oh, yeah.
Cadbury Snack, the perfect biscuity bite for that mid-morning break. Pick one up in a store today.
Nearly every night. I've phoned the Gardaí 3 times in the last 5 nights, and they have arrived, and she is bloodied and bruised. But he's still in the house. I've approached him about it, and he told me to mind my own business. I only butted in because I know the girls. there's a man who sent me that message and doesn't want to talk because of the fear. And, an awful lot of us would argue, Ciara, that who wants to be bringing stuff like that into your own life? By reporting is what I mean. And I'm not saying people are cowards, but...
No, I get what you're saying, and some people don't want to get involved and close the door. It's nothing to do with me, but I just think you really could save a life, and sometimes it takes the victim a few times to say, yes, he has done this. They have to have courage. They have to think, yes, I am going to actually finally be able to get out of this situation. And remember, this person has controlled them, has made them think they can't live without them. There's a whole other thing that goes with it, not just physical abuse. There's mental abuse, emotional abuse, which is being recognised now, which back in the 80s wasn't. Like, policemen used to say to my mum, well, don't burn his dinner, or don't, was kind of, when I think back now, thank God things have changed. But just make the call.
Yes,
at least make one phone call. If you don't continually call, at least you've tried. And then they're on the radar, The guards have been there, so...
And just to let people know that when it comes to domestic incidents in the last couple of weeks with this lockdown, the Gardaí have been extra active and have been responding very quickly.
Thank God, yes, that, this didn't happen when I was growing up, because I dread to think what life me and my siblings would have had, so thank God things are...
Actually, yes, that's an interesting question.
Yeah, that's why I called in today, because it did make me think,
Yeah, if you were actually living in that situation now today with our current lockdown and everything else, it doesn't bear thinking about. All right, Ciara, I appreciate your phone call.
Okay,
thanks very much indeed for talking to us. Just that person in Dunleary again. The Gardaí have said they can't do anything, even if the person is black and blue, until the person injured reports it to the Gardaí. The Gardaí have no powers to help, even though it's clear abuse is happening behind closed doors. And we do know that that's a problem. And there is very little that the Gardaí can do unless somebody is going to say, yes, he actually did beat me. Anyway, thank you very much indeed for all of your calls. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks. Quick break, and we'll lighten up the mood a little bit after that break.
The sound of the city, from Kilbarrack to Kiltiernan. Dublin Talks. 98 FM's Dublin Talks.
And this is Adrian Kennedy. We're here till midday today. Now, we like to do a little piece on our show from time to time that we call Blonde Moments. And this is where we have a little bit of fun at your expense, by getting you to tell us something that you've done that can only be described as a blonde moment, because it was so stupid and so embarrassing that the only way to describe it was a blonde moment. That's what we want you to share with us right now on 6797 981. 6797 981. You can also text, WhatsApp, or send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. Share with us, please, your blonde moment. And Jeremy is here, and you've had many's a blonde moment.
No, this one's not about me. This was about 2 weeks ago. We were doing... Have you done this Netflix thing where you can watch Netflix together with friends and family?
No, I haven't actually done it, but I know about it, yeah.
Because you have no friends or family that want to watch Netflix, which is that the issue?
Go on.
Anyway, 2 weeks ago, we decided, I think it was last Saturday evening, we decided to sit down with a few family members and cousins and all watch The Wizard of Oz together on Netflix. Great old movie,
We're off to see The Wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz, yeah.
Yes, that's it. And when you're all watching a movie together on Netflix, you can comment in a little chat bar. Anyway, a member of our family who will remain nameless turned around about 15 minutes into The Wizard of Oz and said, "Guys, did you know that this is based on a true story?" We're like, how is The Wizard of Oz based on a true story? And so, I remember hearing about it in the news that a woman had her house sucked up by a tornado and she ended up somewhere else. I was like, yes, that probably did happen, but her name wasn't Dorothy and she didn't end up in a place called Oz. You gobshite. Now, if you've ever seen that movie...
Is that actually a real thing? This person genuinely said, I heard it's a true story.
I swear to God, how could you think that movie was based on a true story?
Well, you couldn't.
There's flying monkeys in the movie. There's a man who's made out of tin.
Yeah.
Have you ever met a man that's made out of tin?
No, or straw. That's mad, that is.
Although we were watching Saving Private Ryan one night, myself and my wife, and my wife very rarely says stupid things. But I remember we were watching, the opening 20 minutes when they land on the beach in D-Day and all that, yeah?
Yeah.
You know where they all land on the Normandy landings. And she turned around while watching that bit and she said, my God, this is like it really happened in history. Well, it actually
what is your blonde moment? Send us a WhatsApp voice note right now to 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. What was that moment that you can only describe as a blonde moment? So, the time you did or said something so stupid, so embarrassing, it can only be described as a blonde moment. Call us right now on 6797 981. You can also send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. Now, Nick, you're on 98 FM. How are you?
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Nick, tell us about your blonde moment.
Well, it's not mine per se. It's my 13-year-old daughter. We were travelling to Mullingar.
Okay.
To meet that handbag, Niall Horan, right?
Oh, right. That handbag.
It is a handbag. But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, okay, go on.
We had her convinced that because we were going outside Dublin, she had to have our passport.
Right.
So when we were going through the toll bridge, we made her hold up our passport to the window because we were going through the automatic coin thing. And then when we got to the other side, what the funny part about it was, a guard car came behind us and she started to panic. Because she had her glasses on sitting in the car and she had no glasses on the passport, she thought they were coming together.
That is hilarious.
So that was just a complete another. And then when she realised, she just went, well, I am blonde.
And she obviously is.
Yes, she is. Yeah.
All right. So that was
in the two plank category.
All right, fair enough.
Well, we used to work with a guy. This is a similar story. Remember the guy we used to work with, Adrian, and we went into work on the Monday, and he asked me what I had done at the weekend, and I said on Saturday I got a boat over to Ireland's Eye and spent a couple of hours in Ireland's Eye. What did that man reply to me, Adrian?
Did you get duty free on the way back? That's a true story. That's a true story.
Or like Jason, Ireland's Eye is only a 20-minute boat trip. They don't do duty free.
Anyway, thank you very much indeed. 6797 981 is our phone number. You can also text, WhatsApp, or send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. Tell us, please, your blonde moment. That moment you did or said something so embarrassing you can only describe it as a blonde moment. This is from Martin.
Hi Adrian, one morning I woke up and I was absolutely knackered, didn't have a good sleep. I was making a cup of tea and I was storing the tea bag. I went to the fridge, I took out a carton and I poured it in. Guess what it was? It was orange juice. I thought the orange juice was the milk. I still drank it though. It was a nice kind of orangey taste of it.
Ew.
But I wouldn't recommend it for anybody else though. So that was my blonde thing to do.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, we were just talking about The Wizard of Oz and people thinking it's a real movie. Here's a message here from John. I was sitting down with my son last year watching the programme Chernobyl on Sky. Halfway through the programme, he turned around and said, "This is unbelievable. This would never happen in real life."
Unfortunately, it did happen.
Is Chernobyl based on a real historic event?
Yeah, of course it is.
No, I mean the actual programme. What happens in the programme actually happened in real life?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Yeah. And it apparently was very accurate in the way in which it covered the whole thing. So, apparently. Now, where are we going? Kevin.
Hi, it's Kev. It's not my blonde moments. It's a friend's blonde moment. Basically, she got a new puppy. After about 6 months, she was walking it just outside her house. She met her neighbour who has a dog, and his dog started to wee against a tree. And she turns to him and says, "I wonder when my dog's going to start weeing like that." And he kind of looked at her as if she had two heads and just said, "You've got a female dog." And she didn't clock it. And then, boom, he had to explain to her. But anyway, that's her blonde moment, and she is blonde. Have a good one. Bye.
Thanks very much.
No, I have a male dog that weighs like a female.
Yeah, no, we have our dog Sparky is a boy, yeah. And he
well, is he?
But he piddles like a girl, so he doesn't do the whole tree thing very often. Jessica sent me this.
Morning, lads. So I was driving up by a restaurant, and in the evening time, what it does, it lets you park on the road. So I'm stuck at the traffic lights, and I rang my son and I said, I'm ages here, I can't get up to the traffic lights, the cars are just stopped. And he said, Mum, them cars are parked. So I was stuck behind the parked cars. Have a good day, lads.
Thank you very much indeed, Jessica. We've all done it.
Yeah, especially going northbound on the Quays.
Yeah.
You know, past where the Virgin Megastore used to be. On the right-hand side, it looks like it's traffic, but they're all parked.
Yes. Are they not gone now? No?
What, parked cars?
Those parking spots.
Oh, can you not park in the Quays anymore?
Most of it, no.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Lynn, you're on 98 FM. Hi, Lynn.
Hi, how are you?
Lynn, tell us about your blonde moment.
So I was eating chicken wings with my husband, and we were sharing them, and he kept going for, the little drumette parts.
Yeah.
And leaving the flat ones for me. And I was saying, why do they keep taking those bits? And he said, I thought you didn't like leg meat. So he thought the little drumette bits were chicken legs, tiny chicken legs.
I love it. A brilliant blonde moment. Thank you very much indeed, Lynn. My niece saw work being carried out on the GPO, and she said, I heard that IKEA is moving into the shops in the GPO, and that was definitely her blonde moment.
What, they were going to open an IKEA store in the GPO?
In the most historical building in the centre of Dublin? No, they're not, no. A few years back, says this message, I was driving an old Opel Corsa, but it had a central locking with the key with a button on it. And once I went back to the car in some car park and a battery in the key run out, I texted my brother to bring me the spare key because I can't get into the car. He was in work and didn't reply for about an hour, and I was standing outside the car waiting until I got a message from him saying, why don't you just open the car with the actual key, not the button?
Oh my God.
He forgot you can actually open the car with the key. Well, that was back in the day. Not all cars have keys now.
Yeah, my mother got a new car last year and it didn't have a handbrake on it. And she
totally
rang the
freaked her out.
garage to say, I'm sorry lads, I'm going to have to send this car back. There's no handbrake. I can't stop the car. And the garage says, there has to be a handbrake. We sold you the car. No, there's no handbrake. There's no handbrake. So she rang me, as all Irish mothers do. Jeremy, come down and find the handbrake in my car. It was the button thing.
Yeah. Finally, Brendan.
The missus had a blonde moment. We were out in Dunleary with my son Eric, and he asked what island that was across the waters, and the missus turned around and says, that's Wales.
I assume they were pointing at Howth or something, were they?
You would see whales you'd see whales today, wouldn't you?
You might see whales today if you were up the top of Killiney Hill or something like that, which is okay if you're within 2 kilometres of Killiney Hill. Yeah. All right, thank you very much indeed for all of your blonde moments. They were brilliant. Jeremy, thank you. Talk to you tomorrow. And if you have something you'd like to bring up on tomorrow's programme, send us an email right now to dublintalks@98fm.com. Dublin Talks, all one word, at 98fm.com if there is anything you would like to bring up on tomorrow morning's programme. Back again tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Barry Dunn is on the way, and in the next hour he's got some great music lined up like these.
The sound of the city, from Lucan to Lusk. Dublin Talks. 98 FM's Dublin Talks.